Okay, so last we left, you just went ahead with your daring plan for Eric to tie you up and bring you to meet the rat so you could hopefully break free of your already frayed rope bindings and kill him. But getting there, you had a bag thrown over your head, walked through many different winding tunnels and passageways, and were then presented to the rat where a good bit of talking happened, and then you find out that somehow the rat knew what you were planning this whole time and stabbed Derek straight through the back, and a fight broke out. The people helping you, like the random guard guys, died. Eric got slow-mo stabbed through the chest, Private Ryan style. Uh, Daria held her own for quite a bit, got knocked out, but you woke her up. You took on like a big, half ogre looking guy and managed to win, but the rat refused to fight the entire time, and then started talking and twitching, and eventually all his bones and joints started to pop and crack as they all started extending out, becoming elongated and more spindly as he transformed from just a normal ratty looking man to a full on half man, half rat abomination. And in the moment you decided to try and flee back the way you came, but not remembering the route you took, you tried to get through a door on the other side of one of the chambers. After taking a couple attempts at the door, it finally gave in while Daria was trying to hold off the rat for you. But as she went to run, he just leaped onto her back and just clenched his jaws around her throat, crushing her neck and tossing her to the side as he dived through the hole trying to get you, grabbing your foot as you just managed to kick him off as he's scrabbling trying to crawl through the small hole in the door after you. And that's where we're going to begin. So you're sitting on your ass, kind of kicking your way back away from this door in a tunnel underground where you've no clue where you are, with the rat's long, stretching, clawed arm scraping, pulling at the dirt, leaving claw marks through the ground as he's trying to pull his way through towards you. You can see his head now pushing in through the gap you made in the planks as he's just screaming out, "Come back, boy! I'm not finished with you yet." And he's trying to pull his way through the little gap you've broken the door.
So is his head in the gap?
He's trying to squeeze his head in past his own shoulder as he's poking out.
Oh, yeah, I'm gonna fucking hit that fucker when I get the chance.
Okay. Are you gonna swing an axe at him, kick him? What way you doing it?
Yeah, I'm just gonna fucking hit him in the head with the axe.
Make an attack roll.
What could go wrong? Ah, good.
So, as you see the head poke just through, you bring the axe down and you slam it in as hard as you can. You feel it connect, and then it just slides right off his ratty pelt, dealing what would be a mighty blow to a normal man.
But zero damage.
It just slides straight off. And you feel you just see the rat kind of stop for a second and kind of cock his head and start just laughing, if a rat could laugh. So, you think that'll harm me, boy? You know nothing of what you deal with. And the head shoots back out through the hole, to the other side of the door, and you see the two claws reach in and grab the two, the two sides of the next two planks and start pulling at them. So as you see it and you start going to run, you hear the splinter of those two planks just snap, snap. as they're shattered underneath his clawed hands, and you just hear a squeal as he screams out, "Go, my children! Hunt him down!
Yep.
Bring me his head!" And you hear the little of hundreds of little claws scrabbling against the stone and the dirt.
Oh, great.
Like,
Awesome.
as you're starting to like go down this hallway, you look over your shoulder and you just see the hole, like the light coming at the hole, vanish,
Eyes.
and then just the
Eyes and
swarm of rats just start pouring out like water across the ground towards you.
Love it. I love it. I love it so much.
So you're running as fast as you can.
Oh, yep. Yep. There's no fighting anymore. There's only running.
Make an athletics check.
Uh, please. Oh.
Oh, so as you're like the panic of what is occurring is starting to set in, you're you're stumbling on your feet, you trip and fall slightly, and like looking around as you're trying to get back up, you see the rats, they're closing in. They're slowly creeping in on you meter by meter as you stumble and fall. But you get back on your feet, you keep running, and you see a small light in the distance, and it's like a kind of like one of those like a sconce on the wall, and the path splits left and right. You have to make your choice,
So left or right?
left or right.
Oh, shit.
You do know that this probably is not the way you came in, so you've no clue where you
Fuck.
are.
Well, we'll just go left.
Okay, so going left. So as you run up to the torch and you're just thinking, I need to make a choice, you just dive down the left tunnel. As you can hear like the rat swarm just like skittering across the ground behind you trying to catch up.
Fuck. Fuck. Fuck.
For this one, I would say make a like an acrobatics roll for the next one
Ooh,
instead of athletics. So as you're
better.
running along this part, you can see like there's like bits that are like kind of crumpled down, like the walls are like kind of caving in a little bit. There's like wooden beams that would have held the ceiling that are a bit collapsed, and you're trying to jump over them without tripping and falling. You get through, land on your feet, keep going, and you're thinking, I might have slowed those little fuckers down a bit and bought me some time. So you keep going further in, down the tunnels, completely lost, and up ahead you then reach another junction. You can either go straight ahead, up to your left, or down to your right.
When you mean up to my left and down
Like
to my right,
upstairs
you
or
mean...
downstairs.
Oh. I'll go straight ahead.
Okay, you keep going straight. Right. So as you start running further down the tunnel, you can see that this specific tunnel, it looks really old, not very well maintained. Like it was crumbly before, but now there's like bigger chunks of rock just lying in the path, more wooden beams. Some of the beams look like they're like almost just completely worn away. It's an extremely, extremely old tunnel. So we will do another acrobatics roll for navigating through this section. Oh, another decent roll. This is good. Where'd my pen go? There we go. You can still hear the rats. Like it sounds like they're getting slightly further behind you, getting slowed down by all the obstacles in their way. And as you keep going from up ahead, you start seeing a faint light down the tunnel, and you hear what sounds like a couple voices.
Well, I guess I'll just run towards them. I guess. Not much
Okay,
choice.
you keep going, and then it looks like it's gonna open out into a small little room with like two guys sitting at a fire. What is your next move? It's like a little tiny room, smaller than the one like you met the rat in, and it's just like a little shitty fire with two guys, one on either side. It looks like
They armed.
opposite side of the room there were like two doors that you could go through.
Yeah, just run straight past them. Run through the doors.
Okay, so which door are you gonna pick? You've got a left door and a right door.
Left door.
Okay, now will that door be locked or not? Okay, so as you go to like run through that door, you run up to it, you try and like push through the door, and you're like, oh shit, the door's not opening, so you try and pull on the door, and the door still doesn't open. These two guys, they've just watched you like run past over their fire, and you're just like, oh, what the? Are you okay? What the fuck's going on?
Walk away from me.
These guys are looking very confused, but you hear
Where's
the
the way out?
what?
Where's the way out?
Uh, I'll get your key. You're at where are you looking to go?
Just get me the fuck out of this fucking room. Get me to the surface now.
One of the guys starts reaching into his pockets to pull out a key, and as he's pulling it out, you look back down the hallway you just came from, and you see the first few rats, like just wee normal sized rats, start to like creep out around the corners of the tunnel behind you.
Ah, fuck. Fireball time!
You see, okay, so like as you're doing the fireball, you see the guy like kind of pull out a ring of keys and pull one round to the top, like this is the key to open the door. As he looks around and sees the rats, and he's like, "Oh sweet God, there's so many of them!" And he starts moving towards the door that you're at as well. So you're firing a fireball into the rats.
Yeah.
Fireball those rats. Oh, so you see the first portion of the swarm that's coming out through the passageway, and the fireball flies in, explodes, and a portion of them just get burnt to ash. And you see we open patch where you hit them, and then just immediately from behind that we open patch just fills with more
Fills
rats
out again.
as they start spilling into the room, going around the walls,
Yeah.
spreading across the floor. You've got a feeling like it's only a matter of seconds, like maybe like 20 seconds until they get across this room and swarm you. So in Dungeons and Dragons, like 3 or 4 turns. So this guy's like running towards the door, he's fumbling with the key, trying to get it into the lock. As he's panicking, the other guy's pulling out a sword and he's slashing at the rats. What are you going to do?
How strong does the door look?
Uh, maybe a bit weaker than the last one you bust your way through.
Fuck it, I'm just gonna actually wait. I will fight the rats off one more turn, and then I will
Okay.
resort to ramming the door myself. Um,
Let's
No.
make a spell roll. Oh, what do you
if I
do?
use poison spray, that will not poison these other two guys, or
No,
will it?
no, just whatever you're aiming at.
I shall use poison spray on the rats. Try that.
So the
Attack
rats
them.
must make a save. The rats do not make the save, so you cast out this poison spray and you see the gas like shoot out across the room towards the door. And it's like the rats, they're all running, and then you just see the flow coming into the room stop, and then start piling up a couple inches, like a couple feet at the edge of the tunnel. Like there's maybe like a foot and a half wall of dead rats as they start trying to climb into the gas, and then they start spilling over the corpses, start rushing into the room. the guy,
Any word on that door?
the guy's just like he's shaking so bad with a roll of an 8 that he can't get the key into the actual lock. The other dude is trying to fight the rats, and you see him like he's like swinging at a couple as like you've blocked off the view getting in. But once they swarm in, you see like 50 of them just swarm in and rush to him because he's the closest target and just pounce on him. There's rats just flying through the air, biting onto his arms, ripping his flesh out. You just see chunks of this guy going everywhere, and he's getting
Fuck this.
torn
I'm gonna
apart.
run over and take the key off the guy and fucking open the door myself.
Okay, you put the key in, unlock the door. Door swings open, no problem. And the other guy, he tries to push out past you first. So roll athletics to. Are you gonna let him past, or are you gonna fuck him out of the way to get out before him?
Oh, after this dam, he's getting fucked out of the way. I'm going through
Okay,
this door first.
athletics roll to fuck this dude out of the way. Oh, what's this? I rolled
Oh,
a
yeah,
3. So he goes to try and push past. You just kind of like palm his face and just shove him into the wall as you barge your way through the door past him and start going down the hallway. And you look back and you see as he tries to like stumble back to his feet, like he's like on the ground, like you slammed him to the wall. He fell to his knees. He's trying to get up, and as you see him get up, you just see the rats start pouncing onto his back, biting into him. And he then falls to the ground, crying like, "Don't leave me! Help!" As the rats just swarm over him, biting everywhere, chomping into him, ripping flesh out, and you see blood just start splattering on the walls as the guy in the other room just starts screaming at the top of his lungs. You keep running?
Yep.
Make an athletics check.
That guy is fucking dead.
Oh yeah, they're definitely both dead.
Oh.
Oh, so as you keep running and the rats are mostly distracted by the two bodies, you keep running, you then get to another, like a split in the road. You look down to your left and you see what looks like in the distance, like white natural light, like moonlight. And to your right, just darkness down another tunnel.
Let's pray for the moonlight.
So you
Oh.
rush your way out towards the moonlight. You can hear the rats scrabbling through the tunnel behind you. The screaming of the two men has now stopped. And you can just hear what you can only imagine is the gnawing sound of fangs on bones as they're being ripped apart. You keep running down the hallway, and you see the light getting closer and closer, and then it gets in a good viewing range, and you can see it's, you know, like yeah, like the kind of like the sewer things that have like the bars across them.
I knew you were gonna fuck me with
It's
that.
it's
I
one of
fucking
those,
knew it.
but there's like a couple bars like broke off and missing and rusted in the middle. So there's like a man-sized hole that you can crawl.
I'm not a very
Yeah, so
big
you're gonna have to
guy.
squeeze through. I got a feeling you're like the biggest guy, like probably in the city. Maybe apart from that ogre dude, you're like the biggest dude. This is like their inconspicuous entrance to one of the tunnel systems.
Right, guess I'm gonna have to squeeze through this fucking thing, man.
Yes, this will be a dexterity saving throw. So you might get
Okay.
slightly better rolls on a saving throw.
I think these are saving throws, so.
Oh. So what way are you approaching this? Like, are you just gonna full sprint, just trying to dive through? Or like delicately?
So like it's not like a roof one, it's like a
It's like-
sideways.
It's like
sort
the
of wall?
bars, you know, like the bars are coming from the ground to the ceiling,
Yeah.
but there's like
yeah,
two missing, and then like a really rusted one to the side that any normal man, like me or you in real life, could just like crawl between the two. But like
Yeah, well,
your dude's like an extra like I don't know, like 12, like maybe 8 inches with his muscled shoulders like Schwarzenegger.
Basically trying to shimmy through this sideways, essentially.
Okay, so you're trying to like get up over like the remaining spikes that are sticking out of the ground, ducking under the remaining spikes coming out of the ceiling, and trying to shimmy your way through. And then
Fucking
you get like
giant neck gets in the way.
your first arm and your shoulder through. You try to push through your chest, and you just feel like your pecs, your massive pecs, just kind of and get stuck. You just like feel them squeezing against the bar, and then oh, your pecs like right like where the nipple is, like the thickest part of the pec, it just gets jammed right between there and the muscles in your back. Your bulging muscles and the
Oh, great.
stress, they're just bulging that much. They've like squeezed you in there like a vice. You can hear the rats. They're getting closer. You're look.
I'm quickly gonna. Didn't you say there's a rusted bar?
There is a rusted
Like,
one.
okay, right. I'm gonna try to just use all my strength to like bend it like further in that I have more room to squeeze through.
Make some strength.
Come on, baby. Oh,
Oh, so you start pushing at it, and trying to get it at its thinnest, weakest point. You start bending it a wee tiny bit. Not very much, but make another dexterity save to try and force yourself the rest of the way through. Oh, so you've pushed it
it was enough.
like you've just like kind of flexed your muscles as much as you can and just popped the pipe or like the bar like a centimeter out of place, which was just enough breathing room for you to fall out of the force, just tumble out onto a. Like as you fall out and look up, you're out on like pretty much the very bank of the river. If the tunnel was any closer to the water, you would fall out straight into the water. So you pretty much fall out onto the 1 or 2 foot of like dirt right on the edge of the river at the time. It looks like you're almost underneath a bridge that goes between the two halves of the town. But as you fall out and look around behind you, you see the glowing of the eyes start to approach the bars and look at you from the darkness on the other side as they are about to pounce out. You might be out of the tunnels, but you're not safe.
So see this bridge? Can I get to the? Can I like go to the other side of the bridge, or is there? Is this the bit where like there's the whole wall and everything to like
So,
stuff, or is it just a bridge into another piece of town?
so
Other
like
town?
the whole city gets split by a river, and the one
Yeah.
side of the river is the shitty rust yard. The other side is Pineberg. This is one of the bridges that joins the rust yard to Pineberg. So
Yeah.
there's like multiple bridges. It just happens to come out of one of those.
Okay. Can I uh climb up onto the bridge then? Can I just climb up the beams and get on top of the bridge?
You can certainly try. That would
Or is
be.
there like a quicker way? Is there like can I go up,
You
like
could
a path or a slope?
you could
or-
probably just like go a little bit down the river, and then it would probably slope up enough for you to
Okay, I'll
like
just do
crawl
that
your
then.
way up. Okay, so what's not too hard to do is like uh, as you're getting out of the path of the tunnel, make a dexterity saving throw as rats just start launching themselves out of the tunnel your direction, trying to latch onto your flesh. So as you like panic, look around, you see the bridge, you see across the river, you look around, you're like, okay, I gotta go, and you start going to run. One of the rats just launches out and just digs its teeth into the very like right into the meat of your calf, and just digs in there with its teeth, and it's holding on, and its wee claws are starting to scratch. As you see more rats just start diving out of the tunnel, just some of them slamming into you and bouncing off, some like catching onto your armor with their claws and holding on as for dear life.
Great.
But you do manage to barely get out of the way. But if you leave this rat on, he might deal 1 point of damage. And you're only
Yeah.
on 2 hit points.
Well, I'll run as much as I can, and then use poison spray on my body.
Hmm.
Actually, wait, can I?
You
Yeah, I
can,
can. I
yeah.
can use poison spray as much as I want.
Yep. Poison spray
Yes.
and produce flame. Okay, so the
Yeah.
rat. Oh, even with disadvantage, the rat successfully resisted your spell. Like, you go down to spray him, and like you're trying to also avoid the rest of the rats, and the rat kind of, they're very toxic little fuckers. This must be a really, really toxic one. He must have breathed in a lot of gaseous fumes in his life, and he just his wee beady eyes just kind of water a bit as he breathes in the gas, but he keeps biting on. The bloodlust is
Bitch.
insane. He got a 15 and a 13, and 13 is exactly what he needs to resist your spell.
Bitch.
But the little fucker, he's holding on. You can feel him starting to gnaw into your leg, breaking through the skin, and a little bit of blood trickle down. You're like one more failed attempt to get rid of this rat. He will
I just
fuck you up.
fucking grab the whole rat's body and then just burn it with reduced flame.
Oh, make your attack roll on the rat. You have fucked the rat because he would only have 1 hit point. So, I guess this is a sweet, a good shoe-sized, maybe like child's shoe-sized rat that's just hanging onto your leg, and you just grab him, and just like by grabbing the rat, you feel like you've already squeezed the life out of it, and then you just light it on fire and turn it to ash, even though it was probably already dead. But as the ash of the rat falls out of your hand and you start climbing your way up from the river, you see the main horde of the rats just kind of come pouring out of the tunnel that you were behind. Maybe, like, you could only guess, like, there could be 100 rats that just swarmed out of this tunnel, that are now at the edge of the water, sniffing around, searching for you as you feel hundreds of beady little eyes just snap to you as you're climbing up the bank. What is your next move? The horde is still on your trail.
God. Just keep running, I guess. That's all I can really do.
Okay. So make a perception check as you're you're getting like up to like street level now. Oh, you're really good at perception for some reason.
Apparently
Apart
so.
from that one time in the building. But
The one time that was kind of important.
as you start crawling your way up to street level and you can see the houses, you're breathing heavy, the sweat starting to like pour down the sides of your face. You're feeling sore all over. You get up and you're thinking, oh, I might be able to take a breather. And then off in the distance, you hear the same shrieking noise calling out across the city from multiple locations that you heard that night when the giant rat attacked you in the street. The hunt is on. All the rat's minions, they're in the streets. They're searching for you. You hear like wolves calling to each other across the night. You hear the rat screeches, one from like way across down the river, one from across the other side, one that sounds like it's out near the northern gate. You just hear the rat screeches coming from all across the city. And it starts to sink in the scope of this operation, the danger that you're in, that in the length of time it took you to get out of the tunnels, word has spread, and the rat's minions, they're searching for you. So what is your plan?
God.
You're being pursued on all sides by enemies.
I'm gonna go out in a whim
Yes?
and run in the direction of the Temple of Gork
Throg.
or Throg. Shit, every time.
Gork and Mork, 40k. Still an orc god though, you know, he might exist here. If you start to worship him and find the religion yourself, maybe. But,
Maybe that's how I can name my face. My fists, Gork and Mork.
could if you want. But, you start making a break for it through the streets, through the alleyways. Make. We'll go with a survival check. So, like, trying to get your bearings in this panic and navigate a good path. Okay, so it takes you longer than you'd like to, like, get your bearings. Since, like, you don't really know where you popped up onto the surface. But
Yeah, and
you
the fact
you're
that I
able
don't
to,
really
like,
know my way around town that much.
yeah.
to begin with.
But you, like, kind of walk around lost for a bit until you recognize a few of the buildings you've seen before, and then you manage to. Are you going like full sprint, or are you trying to sneak your way there? Trying to hide from the rats.
Um, I'll try to be stealthy, I guess, but I mean, I don't really know how stealthy I can be against rats.
Well,
So,
make a stealth check. And oh fuck.
oh, definitely not.
So
Definitely
as
making
you
a terrible ruckus.
no, it's not that you make a ruckus. You're you're actually being quite stealthy, but as you're like going down the alleyways, you think you've lost the horde of rats behind you, but then you hear them like crawling through the buildings, over the rooftops, in the walls. One like shoots out from a wall, is lunging at you, and you just catch it before it gets to your face and crush it in your hand. And then you glance down at where the one had bit your leg, and you see the blood just like has like bled all the way down like to your foot, and is now dripping, leaving a trail of blood behind you. And the rats have just been scenting you, following your blood trail, keeping track. You're only like halfway maybe to your destination, but you feel like so far the rats have been honing in and tracking your blood. But you might still be able to lose them if you find some way to limit their ability to track you.
Um, as I'm running, I'll go on. I'll go out in a whim and take the ale out that I have and pour it over me to maybe mask my scent a wee bit.
That actually seems like a pretty good idea. So, yes, we'll do stealth at advantage this time. Because that seems like it would work to me. Kind of like pouring oil over yourself to hide your scent. Oh yes, that was quite good. It's a really good thing you did that because
So
you
it's
literally
really
rolled another one.
yeah.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
that's bad.
Oh my god. So you pour the
Oh no.
so so like you got a feeling like this worked far better than you ever thought it would. Like you pull out like that, like the half or whatever it was bottle you got from the building where
Ale.
Eric was, and you just start pouring it over yourself, pour it over your wound, which stings a bit, pour it just everywhere, and start like ducking into different alleys, taking like a different route than you'd normally take, and then going back on yourself and shooting down another alleyway, doing the best you can to try and lose the rats, getting like a bit of blood onto like a rag and chucking the rag up into the wind and then it'd blow across the city. And then eventually, as you're going to a street, you stop and listen. You still hear the shrieks of rats in the distance as they're moving across the city hunting for you, but you no longer hear the scrabbling of claws of the little rats
Oh,
that are tracking you. They rolled a 1,
yes.
and they got distracted by something along the way apparently, and have lost your scent. So you
Good.
manage to sneak the rest of your way towards the shrine, and you can see it now out in front of you, just across like one of the streets to where the shrine would be. Like the little like gazebo or whatever it is that the wee shrine's sitting in a little clearing. So what would you like to do next now that you've reached the shrine?
Uh, down on my knees and probably breathe for a bit.
Yes, catch your breath. Reflect on everything that's happened, and in this reflection, you feel stronger. Like you've grown as a person. Meaning you totally haven't leveled up from escaping the rats. But you've grown as a person. You are now stronger than you once were with your renewed strength.
Yeah.
Which we shall deal with later. Or whenever it becomes important. But what is your next plan of action? Now that you have a slight moment to think.
Oh god. Like what do you even do in a situation like this?
I have no clue.
If it was me in real life, I'd just be like, yeah, I'm leaving.
That is an
See,
option.
just like fuck this city, fuck everyone.
That is always an option. You just have to get out alive.
I have to like. Well, I think I'm gonna have to rest. So,
Yes. Find somewhere safe.
mm, wonder is the temple like? Do you think I could like sleep near the altar, or is it
If you like tried
in
to
the
like
open?
conceal yourself, you probably could. It's like there's like a little open patch. And there's like a gazebo kind of thing sitting in the middle with the shrine in it. It's not super open, but it's like the one of the most open parts other than like the market square place in the rust yard. But you could probably like conceal yourself to like hide while you sleep.
Yeah, maybe like try to get my like cover myself with my mat or whatever,
Yeah, your
bedroll,
bedroll. Okay.
just try to get some rest.
Well, for let's see, you have so you have a proficiency, I think, with a disguise kit. Yes, roll a
Probably
disguise kit thing.
I shall disguise myself as a drunkard.
Okay, so
Not very well, apparently.
you're tired, you're beaten up. It's you feel like it's not great.
I basically just grab my bedroll, wrap it around me, and fucking lie down against a wall.
Yeah, pretty much.
And and I'm like, yeah, that's it. Perfectly disguised.
Oh my god. So you disguise yourself as best you can with the bedroll, and like almost immediately you just pass out from the exhaustion of everything that's happened. And then you don't know how long has really passed. You've no clue what time it was when you fell asleep. But you wake to the rising sun glinting in your eyes. It seems as though the rat's losing your trail and possibly chasing a fake uh, blood on a little rag or something might have caused them to roll another one in a row and not find you at all.
It's
But
winning.
you haven't been found during the night by any rats, and the warmth of the rising sun, it brings a bit of comfort that perhaps they will not be out during the day searching for you.
Yeah.
But now you must work out what you're going to do next, facing what seems like unbeatable odds.
I must. Think the only way forward is to inform the Lord. I think. I mean,
That is always an option.
what does he call it? Igor? Something?
Yeah, pretty sure that's what I call him. Yes. You know he would be named Igor Colhart, though you've never seen him yourself. From what you've heard, though, he is a dwarf.
Okay. And I've never seen a dwarf.
You've never seen him, but you've heard that he is a dwarf.
Yeah. Well, my mission for today will be to try to get a meeting with him and inform him of this. Because I don't have a fucking clue how any other way I'm gonna do this. So,
Yes, it's a world that's going to live or die with or without you. So we will see what difference you can make. But,
might try to find a way to get myself cleaned up a bit first, though. Probably isn't a good idea
being
to
bit by
show up
rats.
looking. Well, that also
Oh.
stinking of alcohol,
Covered in
showing up,
blood.
telling the Lord about a giant rat pandemic that's underneath the city, and giant
Well,
rats the size of like bears.
rats the size, bear-sized rats living under the city. Yes, that
Yeah.
might not go too well. But it's not too hard to get yourself like cleaned and washed up. Using some rags, like get yourself wiped down, soak off any of like the remaining alcohol.
Horse trough or something, or
Yeah. Find like a wee puddle in the road, or a barrel that's filled with rainwater, and just wash off. But you do manage to get yourself cleaned up. Actually, let's just make a what world would that be? Just make a charisma roll. See how well you make yourself look. Do you still look like? I guess you don't really know what classifies as like formal and looking good. So
I probably don't look that great to
no,
begin with.
yeah, but like
So,
it's the kind of thing of you're thinking like, so what would a fancy person look like? So you just like kind of lick your hand and like rub it up through your hair, so your hair's like kind of sticking like up. Like you kind of tried to like comb it back with your hand, but it didn't really work, and the fringe of your hair is kind of like sticking all out weird, and you've no clue what you're doing at all. So you look just about as good as any other dirty peasant living in the rust yard. So not really, not really much different than you already looked, but better than
nice.
being beat up, bloody, and covered in blood. But you're cleaned. So, what's your next plan of action after a night of excitement?
Try to make my way to the fort, I guess.
Okay, so you would know probably from just hearing it from people. There's the Iron Divide, like the fort in the river between the two parts of the city down at the dock. and there are only two ways on. A bridge on the side of the Rust Yard and a bridge on the side of Pineberg. Those are the only two ways onto that part of town, and the divs keep it extremely heavily guarded. Like, the bridge is always manned with guards. There's watchtowers on the fort side that kind of overlook the bridge. The walls around that like kind of fort island are like constantly patrolled. It's the kind of thing like you would probably want to get there legitimately, because getting there like illegally mightn't really go so well.
Yeah.
But you would have to travel to the south side of the city to do that. So on your way there, is there anything you would like to do?
Nope.
Just straight there, no
There's
stops?
nothing more important than what I'm doing right now.
Okay. So you start heading down the river towards the bridge. You see it in the distance. It's actually pretty close to where Daria got like beat over the head and a sack pulled over her head and dragged to the little shack where you were fighting Eric. It's pretty close to that area. But you do see the bridge off in the distance. It's not a very good bridge. It's like a really shitty, really old wooden bridge that looks like if you personally went over to it and like punched one of the supports underneath it, you might just knock the whole bridge down. But it might be built that way and left that way for a reason. So if the fort gets attacked, they can just collapse the bridge and deny entry to anybody. But taking, well, roll a perception check to like scan it before you get up close. Oh,
Perception.
your rest wasn't that good, but just looking at it, you're like, yeah, there's definitely people watching this. Definitely towers, patrols, guys on the bridge. Is that a crowd? Like as you're getting like closer to it, you're like, is that a crowd of people? And like as you're coming out of one of the streets up to the bridge, like almost right on the bridge, you now see there is a gathering of maybe 10 to 15 people, angry peasants, some of them with clubs, some with sticks and bottles, and on like the rust yard side of the bridge, there are two soldiers with their shields like together, kind of shielding themselves on the bridge as some of these peasants are chucking rocks, stones, bottles, they're just throwing stuff at these two guys on the bridge. As one of them is shouting out, "You cannot get an audience of the warlord, you filthy peasants!" And thrusts out his spear and pokes one in the leg, who gets dragged back. And the peasants are just shouting out, "We demand justice! Justice!" There's like a mini riot going on. There's not a lot of people, but there's a mini riot going on. This is the kind of thing you would have heard happens quite a lot in the rust yard, since the people
Lovely.
are kind of oppressed in this area for being so.
Help! I'm being oppressed.
Yeah, they're so oppressed for being like poor and normally weaker than everybody else. They don't really have any rights, I guess. So everybody just walks over them. And these peasants are trying to do something about it, but you can feel like the morale isn't very good, and normally this doesn't go very well, and people probably die when it gets out of hand. But it really just seems to be two guys on the bridge, just shields together as they're being pummeled by like fruit, stones, and bottles. What is your next
Is this
move?
on the way out of the rust yard?
This is like on
Or
the
is
rust yard
this
side of the bridge onto the island of the fort.
okay? Okay. Uh, just gonna like walk up like to the back of the crowd and then try to make my way through it up to the guards.
As you're making your way through, some of the peasants that are like shouting and throwing stuff kind of look at you Like, whoa, this is a big guy, and kind of give you a bit of space, and then continue throwing like rotten tomatoes at these poor guards on the bridge.
As I get to the front of the group of peasants, I turn around. Hit me with one of those, and I'll come back and put it down your throat.
Roll an intimidation check on the crowd. Oh damn! So the whole crowd, like everyone, just kind of stops for a second and looks at you, and you see a couple of them kind of glance around and slink off into the shadows. The crowd's gone from maybe from a 10 to 15 to like 7. Like half the crowd is now gone. They're no longer rioting, and everybody else is kind of just quiet. The odd guy's like, "Yeah, fuck you, divs," and then looks around like, "Oh," and then walks off because everybody else has stopped. There's no silence, and they're all looking at you.
I'm gonna approach the two guards now. They're on the bridge.
Okay, like just walking up aggressively.
Yeah, walk up.
Okay.
No, just walk up to them casually.
The two of them are still like shields locked, like peeking over the top of their shields as they look out at the crowd. One slightly raises the tip of his spear towards you, like, "You, big guy, what's your business here?"
Here to see the boss.
The two of them glance at each other, look back, and you see him kind of steady his spear a bit more, raising it to around your neck level. "And what reason do you have for seeking Warlord Igor?"
My business is my own.
"Well, the Warlord doesn't take business with just anybody. It needs to be of a certain caliber to get his attention. Now, if you want to speak to him, you'll tell the two of us what you want, and then we'll go see if he wants to talk to you."
How about I thrash, but then he can see himself.
Roll another intimidation check on these poor peasants. Or, well, these are poor soldiers, but might not be swayed so easily. Oh, so you see the one that's speaking to you, like his resolve is unbroken as he's pointing the spear right at you. All the guys, like, you see him kind of shaking a bit. He's got a bit of a twitch in his eyes. He's looking back at the other dude and then looking at you. He's like, "Come on, like, we can't just be fighting guys in the street. Look at him. He's a tower of muscle." And the two of them are like back and forth debating whether or not they're gonna let you through or not. And then the one who seems more determined's like, "Fine. Well, we don't want any more incidents in town, so we'll at least bring you inside to..." Shit. "We'll bring you to the captain. See what the captain says. I don't want this on
Good
my head,
choice.
so we're not doing this for you. Come on." You see him like raise a hand and kind of make a motion in the air. And on the other side of the bridge, the two sides of the gate pull inward as the gates opened. And there's a little shout and ruckus from the other side. And the two guards, one on each side of you, start leading you across the bridge into the Iron Divide. First time you've ever been this close to it, let alone inside it.
In it.
Though you have heard, I guess you're walking in, like, up over the bridge, looking down at the river, seeing, like, the iron, like, spire of rock it's built on. You hear, like, the rumors, the stories, like, the myths of the dungeons beneath the Iron Divide that are built, like, tunneled into the rock underneath it, so that, like, from what you've heard, anyway, the prison cells are, like, down at like water level, so the prisoners are like always under threat on a high tide of being drowned by the river, or like the river's meant to come in like at their feet and like wash away their waste and
Yeah,
give them
but on a
a
high
give them a
tide,
give
it'll.
them a battering. But on high tide, they might start drowning, which is a good torture method without needing anyone to do any torture. It's meant to be a very brutal place to be a prisoner. But you've only heard the stories and the legends, for you're not sure if anyone's actually made it out alive or not. But as you start walking in, you see there's like a wooden palisade wall, like two like layers deep, filled with dirt in the middle, all the way around the edge of this island. There's a wooden gatehouse with like a tower on each side watching the bridge. Tower is like spaced every so many, like maybe like 30 meters or so around the island. And once you come through the gate, you see a couple of buildings. The biggest one, like the keep itself, is mostly wooden, but there's a lot of like stones like stacked and laid out all across the ground as it's starting to be changed from wood to stone from the bottom up. So it doesn't look very good right now. They've maybe got like one floor done of stone and then the rest is wooden. Then there's a couple barracks buildings for like the garrison scattered along the wall. There's a stable that you're walking past and you see quite a few horses. Like, it's quite a big stable with a lot of horses in it, and it stinks. And then next to the stable, you see the forge, and hear the hammering of steel on steel as weapons are being forged at quite a rapid pace. Like, almost as though like there's a ruckus of the city is preparing for something you don't know about and haven't heard of what's going on. But there's people running back and forth. You see guys with like 10 swords like cupped in their arms as they're like running across the courtyard to one of the barracks. There's training dummies up against the barracks walls, and there's soldiers training with swords and spears. There's shield drills going on, archers testing their aim. There's a lot going on inside the keep, like inside the fort.
I I turn my head to the one that I know was more scared of me at the gate and ask him, uh, got a fight on the way?
You see him meet your eyes, and you see something that you've never really seen before. You've seen fear, but you've never seen fear of something worse than you in someone's eyes. And you see him just kind of look down at the ground, then back up and just goes, "War," and keeps walking, head down. So the two guards,
Well,
they start steering you through the the ground's quite muddied here from all the movement. But they lead you towards one of the groups of drilling soldiers. As you see, it's like a big man, like not tall, but like broad. Looks like he's almost too wide and is really disproportioned. But he's this wide man in mail that's currently sparring with a few like soldiers in the kind of like the like Akaton like kind of linen armor.
yeah.
There's like a few guys just wearing that or sparring with wooden swords, and there's this guy that's in the mail and he's barking at commands as these guys are doing the sparring. And he just walks up to one and says, "I said, keep your back straight, boy!" and whacks him across the back of the head with the sword, just knocking him straight to the ground. And you see him not, like the guy doesn't even move. He's just lying there, stunned or dead on the ground. And he whistles like, "We got another one. Toss him in the river. If he lives, drag him back out in a few hours. Now, Back to the drills, you maggots! And the soldiers start getting back into the drills, and you see the two guards that are escorting you kind of look at each other like, you do it. No, no, no. No, you do it. Fuck. Fuck. And then the more determined one kind of pushes you along with the butt of his spear and walks up towards. So you can only assume must be like some sort of
Did you
commander.
just say
Like he's got like his spear. He takes like the wooden end and kind of taps you on the shoulder and like, kind of pushing you along. Like we're going to this guy. Not aggressively, just like I don't want to touch you with my hands. So I'm just gonna kind of poke you along with the butt of my spear. But pushing you along to this dude, you can only assume is
the captain?
the captain. So you see him walk up, kind of stops, like going to attention, like really stiff, putting his spear into the ground, like, "Sir, Captain, sir, we've got a visitor, sir." And he just gets fucking ignored. The drill's just going on. He's sitting there like, takes another step forward, like, "Captain, sir, and he's like, "Shut up, boy! Can't you see I'm in the middle of a drill?" And they're just sitting there like, "I see that, sir, but we have a visitor for you, sir. It's urgent business." And just, I don't know, actually roll perception for this. See if you catch it before it happens. Oh, you do. So you hear him say, "We've got a visitor for you, sir." You just see like a blur as like the captain guy's kind of like leaning on his sword, like wooden sword in the ground, and just in a blur he just swings around, just cracks the guy across the side of the helmet, staggering him like 6 feet to the side as he's just stunned. He's like, "Boy, what did I tell you about bringing me random visitors from that shithole of the rust yard? Who is this fucker? And can I kill him?" As he's looking at you.
You could try.
You, it's
No,
like
actually, no, I don't say that.
you're like, "You can," and then
People out. I do not want to get gagged by a little fucking.
But-
Also, this captain guy seems pretty intimidating.
so
So I'm not gonna fuck with him.
it's like as you're about to like say that, you kind of look him up and down, and you're like, "Oh, this guy looks fucking tough as balls." Like the kind of guy that's been through a lot of battles, a lot of wars. You're like, he's not one of these kind of like poncy, he's not like a knight. He's like a veteran.
Each strength, I might be able to beat him, but he has learned that many tricks
Yes, he is the tricks of war.
combat that he definitely would probably beat me.
He is a veteran of many battles. You can see the scars. You can see like his meal. There's like it doesn't even look like it's been properly cleaned. You still see some like stains of blood. You can't really tell if they're fresh or if they're old, but there's definitely blood stains. There's missing links. There's like you can see like where hack marks have been made into his armor. Like this dude, like he's the kind of hard as nails kind of guy.
Yeah.
As he's like staring you up and down like, "Well, what's wrong with you? Don't got a tongue? Spit it out, or I'll cut you down where you stand for wasting my time."
Audience with ego.
You see him just kind of look at you like, you want to speak to the great warlord Igor? Now, what could be so important that a lowly rust-yard scum like yourself, a shitty little ruster, would want to speak to the warlord, and think that he would want to speak to you?
Because if Igor doesn't hear what I have to say, an enemy army arriving at the gates will be the least of his problems.
Arriving at the gates? Do you think we're gonna sit here and let an army walk up to our gates? No, no, child. We march to war.
then you won't have a city to return to.
City, Smitty. We live for the battle. We'll come back and we'll crush whatever whelp thought they could take it while we were gone. We
This is
live
something-
for battle.
This is something you have never faced.
Make an insight check on this guy. Just to get a feel for. So you look at him, and as you say that, like you look deep into his eyes, and he just stares straight through you. You got the feeling he saw shit you couldn't even dream of in this world. So, like, he's not even fazed by your words at all. You see him just kind of like grip his sword a bit more, sigh a bit. If only I had some real steel in my hand, I could make this so much quicker. And like you're just like outside of striking range, and he just levels the blade like pointing right at your face. Now, you're gonna think your next words very, very wisely. Or I'm gonna give you 5 seconds to run before I give my crossbowman the order to shoot on you. They need some moving target practice.
So,
Whatever you say, it'll be what you say
Um,
plus you'll make a persuasion roll on it to see if you can convince him. So you have to make a convincing argument, and then your roll will back it up. So if your argument isn't great, but you rolled a 20 or like a 19, well, maybe it made sense to him. Or if your argument is amazing, but you roll really shit, well, then it won't be as good.
okay. So you want to know? You want to know why I'm here? There
Yes.
are giant fucking rats under the city that are going to fucking kill us all if they are not dealt with. And I do not care about the fucking rest of you. But if this is not dealt with, there will be no fucking city and everyone will be nothing but food for them. So you can either believe me or you don't. I don't give a fuck.
Roll your persuasion.
Please God, don't fail.
Oh, come on. You can do it.
Perception, performance, persuasion.
Oh, natural 19. So as you say that, you see his blade kind of lower a bit as he squints his eyes at you, staring like deep into your soul, analyzing like your experiences, and you like kind of see a shift in his eyes, almost as though he gets the recognition almost of like fighting like what you
Not
fought.
bullshitting him.
He lowers his blade, but like giant rats, you say? Well, perhaps it would be some good live training for my troops. Good training exercise against living targets that'll fight back. Might weed out the weak, make the army stronger. So where are these rats? Could you lead a battalion of men down to rat them out? Burn them out of their little tunnels or wherever they're living under the city?
Mine. It is not as simple as that.
We'll burn down
Have
the
you
entire
heard-
rust yard if needs be.
Have you heard of the rat?
The rat? Is this a person? An actual
Yes.
rat? What is it?
I will explain. The rat is a crime boss that has taken over the rust yard quite recently. I had the great idea of killing the rat after he killed my friends and my master. So I made a plan and got into his lair, and he knew everything we had planned. He sums. I don't know. It is magical of nature. He is.
See him just spit in the grind. As they say, magical in nature.
He takes the form. He can take human form, but also the form of a giant rat-like creature. He also has giant rat creatures that work for him, the size of large, the biggest dog I have ever seen. The rats are under his control. All of them. I cannot explain it.
So as you finish, you see him still giving you that intense look. He scans you up and down. Well, you clearly look like shit, so there might be some merit to what you say. But whether it is true or not, it matters not to me. Experience is experience. I will send some of my men into the West Yard, and we will root out the heart of this evil rat infestation. Severe as you say it is or not, it will at least get rid of some of the...
The men you send there will not return.
Well, then I'll send
I
the ones I
drove my
don't care.
axe into the rat's leader's head. It did nothing.
Well, did you think of hitting him a bit harder?
You would give me insult.
You see him just kinda... He's like chuckling a bit. Ah, the youth. Wasted on the youth. Don't worry, boy. We'll solve this problem for you. Just go back to your normal life of whatever the fuck you do. And we'll go stomp out this rat problem.
No, I think if it's all the same to you, I think I'll tag along.
As long as you don't get in the way of any of my men, then I don't really care what you do. But if you get in my way, I won't hesitate to cut you down where you stand.
I'll just be glad to be there when you admit you were wrong.
I don't think that'll be happening anytime soon. He turns around, whistles out, and calls up a group of men that are training. And they all like start forming up into position. And he starts barking out orders. Right, you maggots! Training's over. We've got a live fire exercise down in the rust yard. Seems we've got a rat problem. Get your gear on in 5 and meet me at the gate, or your asses are getting thrown in the river. And he starts marching over towards the gate. And you just see them fucking scramble, like they start rushing to barracks.
What do the men look like?
They're a mishmash. There's some that look Like there's
stronger
kind of
than
like
others.
when they form up, they kind of form almost like two groups. You can see like a scrawnier, dirtier, smaller looking group of troops, and then the ones that form up more uniformed, they look bigger, stronger, better fed, healthier, just better kept. And you've got a feeling like these are the people that have been like drafted from the city, and you can see like there's the rusters who look like shit that have just been like conscripted and forced into the military, no matter like they're like homeless or whatever, pretty much forced in against their will. And then there's the people from the docks and Pineberg that are like kind of more forming a more concise unit of healthier, better looking, like they might actually make good soldiers. So you've got a feeling there's the cannon fodder who are going to get sent in first to soak arrows, and then there's the actual infantry. But they're all trainees. Like none of these are like fully geared out troops. The ones you see like as you look around, like patrolling the walls, like standing guard at doors, like they look kitted, like wearing like chain. Some of them wearing plate, like big
Okay.
square tower shields, halberds, spears. Like they're kitted out, and they're mean looking.
Where did you get these recruits out of the gutter?
Precisely. We need some of our own gutter rats to throw at the enemy. Their lives mean nothing to me, so I will expend them like pawns. Not even pawns. They are worthless. I'll just throw them in to soften them up before the real troops do the work.
Seems like a waste of good steel to me.
We don't give them the good steel, but don't tell them that. And as you see them like arming up, and some of them come rushing back out of the barracks, as you see what he means. Like some of them are just wearing like leathers, like the akatons, and some of them like the swords they come out with, they're like rusted and rotten to the point like you think some of these weapons might just fall apart. Their shields look in even worse condition to yours. And then like there's the better troops from like Pineberg, and they come out with like they've got like battered weapons, but they're not like freshly made. You've got a feeling like they only give the good shit to the people that are actually good enough to use it. The rest just get whatever's scraped from the bottom of the barrel. Kind of like World War II Russia. It's like, here's your sword. The first strike you power with the sword, it might cut the sword in half, but at least you got a sword. If you die, well, maybe the guy behind you who only has a shield, he can come get your sword. These peasants are not treated very well as soldiers. They're like the ones you'd give the battering ram in Total War. The ones
The
that are gonna
rats
fucking
seem
get
to be
slaughtered.
the rats seem to be more active at night. I don't know what we'll find down here during the day.
Well, hopefully a nest full of rats, and then we can just burn them all out. As he
Do you know
scans
how
around
many
looking at
rats
his.
are in the rust yard?
Hardly matters to me. We'll kill them all eventually. And if I need to, I would enjoy watching that shithole burn. You see joy in his eyes. He's just kind of looking out the direction of the rust yard with like a smile across his face as he talks about burning it to the ground. Then just kind of snaps back to reality, like out of some dream. Looks across like his group of freshly assembled troops, and then he like gives another gesture, like, "Right, you worthless maggots, move out! Head into the rust yard, set up the patrolled routes that we have planned for a scenario like this. If anyone shows any dissent, fucking cut them down. I don't care, man, woman, or child. Cut that motherfucker down." And you see the rusters kind of look at each other like, wait, what the fuck? And then The rest of the troops, they just start marching. Perfect formation going out the gate. Cold determination in their eyes. Like if some child walks up in front of that column, they're getting fucking skewered and chucked to the side of the road. They don't care. They will follow this man's orders to the death.
So is all just is the captain coming too?
You see him. He doesn't go with the column, but he watches like the rusters kind of not really knowing what to do, and you see him walk up towards them. Now, what do you think you're doing, recruits? I gave you a direct order. And they're all looking back and forth to each other. And you see, like, he's kind of left his wooden sword stuck into the ground where you were standing. And as you look over, you just see him going, "Get moving." And then with a flash, he's just drawn his actual sword out of its scabbard and just through the air, and you see a head just fall onto the ground and roll across the muck. And they fucking run out the gate as one body just like slumps onto the ground, spasming out a bit as the blood just pours into the muck, and nobody else bats an eye. Got a feeling this is a common occurrence in the training. Yep. If you don't fucking listen, you don't do what you're meant to do, you're gonna get killed. And they'd just go running out over the bridge into the town. And you see him kind of give a nod, kick over the body into the muck a bit as two guys come running out, grab it, and start dragging it towards one of the walls to toss it over into the river. And the captain then starts walking towards the keep. Completely ignoring you. Just starts walking towards the keep.
Uh,
Stumped for what to
I
do.
suppose I'll shout at him. Hey, Captain.
You see him stop, but he doesn't turn around. But he's listening.
Got any men about here that are up for a bit of sparring training while I wait?
Now, what would you be waiting for? Don't you want to get out there and start fighting your rats in the tunnels?
I'm not going down there to die with them weaklings. I went down there with better men than that, and not one of them came out alive.
Well, then you can wait here. And he walks off. You just see him entering in through the door of the keep, and goodness knows what he's going to do.
Fucking asshole. So what's about this training courtyard?
At the minute, there's now the guys that are still like kind of dragging his body across it. One's just holding the head, and you would imagine like someone holding a head is gonna be freaked out, but he's just holding the head like it's just a head. The other guy's just dragging the body like he doesn't care.
Just kicks it over the wall.
Just takes like like the training helmet off, just drop kicks it just over. You hear a splash into the river. But there's a couple training dummies like still set up. There's not really anyone left training. There's like a couple crossbowmen that you can see like firing on some targets. A few guys like practicing their sparring moves off to one of the sides. There's a couple people who don't seem to be like on duty, but they're training. Everyone else seems to have a job, either patrolling the walls, standing guard, like moving supplies back and forth. But
Yeah, I'm essentially gonna go to each person. Gonna just go to one of the guys that's training and ask him if he wants to spar. Wants to spar.
what kind of guy are you looking for? Like, are you looking for a big guy, skinny
We'll
guy?
start. We'll start low and we'll just work our way through them. We might be here for a while.
Okay, so you go for one of the.
Also, slightly intending to try to get a job here.
Well, you go for one of
So
the lower.
if I beat up half the barracks, might be
Well, you go
might
for
be
one
a
of the
good
like
show.
lower down. Like, he looks a bit scrawny. Like, he's definitely meant to just be like a crossbowman. He's not meant to be like a front line.
Don't go to that. Go to
You gonna
something
bypass him?
better than that. Oh, yeah, like something that's like at least maybe a bit weaker than me, but like sort
Okay.
of like a decent enough challenge.
So you see one guy and you kind of eye him up and you're like, yeah, that guy. He looks like he'd be a pretty even fight. He's like working on his spear work with his shield on one of the sparring dummies.
Okay, I'll walk up to him.
So he currently doesn't notice you. He's just like kind of practicing his moves on this dummy. He's not the best fighter you've seen in the world, but he's pretty good. So what are you gonna say?
Any better at hitting a moving target?
You see him like the final like thrust up into the training dummy, and some straw falls out, and he looks over like, "Why, you offering?"
Sorry, what did he say?
You offering, like, you offering to be my moving target.
Think you're up for the challenge?
Kind of cracks his neck a bit, like, all right, let's do this. Weapons,
This-
fists. What's the rules?
I'll let you choose.
Weapons, but no lethal blows. First to tap out loses.
Fine with me.
But just for, since you technically did level up, though we haven't leveled you up, just roll a d8 so we can roughly give you like the kind of hit points you would
Health?
have. Yeah.
Hello, baby.
Oh, which is 7 plus 3. So you're at 31.
Oh yeah.
Right, so this guy actually is an even better match now. Good. Right. So he is pretty well like geared up. He's got like it's not like a full set of like chain gear. It's kind of like one of those. It's like a Akaton thing, but it's like mixed in like linens, leather, chain. It's a bit of a mix of everything, but it does look a pretty good piece of armor.
That's why I'm stretching out and everything with my sword and everything. Any weakness?
Yes, looks like I don't think you've got anything I would want. So just honor, I guess. I don't really get anything for beating a ruster like you. But let's do this. Let's talk
I'll
more
give
fighting.
you the honor of eating the dirt.
You can try. And he gets ready, shield up, spear like rested on top of the shield. Roll initiative. Oh, you barely win. You go first.
Nice. Well, I guess the only thing I'm gonna be using is axe attack. And Andrew, so I don't have to keep saying it. All of it's non-lethal.
Yeah, both people are going non-lethal. Like, you might still get cut, but no one's trying to kill anybody.
Yeah.
So you get to go first. You're both roughly like 30 feet apart, like in the like training courtyard, just kind of slowly circling.
Okay, I shall charge in and go for an overhead attack.
So as you lunge in with your axe for an overhead swing, he just lifts his shield and catches your axe on the shield and pushes you back a bit. This is not your average.
15 was a miss.
Yes, because
Oh,
remember, you're a 14
this-
with just leather, and this guy's got better armor than you.
okay, yeah. Ah, this is gonna be interesting.
You needed one higher. You needed a 16.
Okay.
But as he pushes you back, he's like still got his spear like rested on top of the shield and goes in for like a jab with the spear as he pushes you back. He gets a hit on you with a 16.
Okay.
So I need to check what damage a spear even does. Okay, it's only a d6. So he
Get a
jabs in
5.
at you with this. Yeah, he actually did. He rolled a 4 plus 1. So you're down to 26 as he jabs out at you with the spear, like kind of pushing it into your leather and knocking you back a bit, but not like enough to really do much damage.
Okay.
But it's back to your turn. He's still like kind of holding a defensive stance, just circling, ready for the next move.
Gonna. Can I go up to him and rip his shield off him?
Yeah, you could try and make a like, athletics to
Strength.
yeah to just like kind of grab it and just tear it off.
Yeah,
It would be
what will I
against
roll?
him, but yes.
Will I roll athletics or what will I roll?
Just do athletics because it's better than just doing your strength. Actually,
Oh,
it's the
that's
same thing as your
terrible.
strength. So as you like grab onto it, you definitely took him by surprise. But it's like one of the ones like it's got like two leather straps that are going like round his arm,
Maybe like
and
pulled the first strap out, but he grabbed it for
yeah,
the
you see
second
like one
strap.
of the wee nails that are kind of holding it together, just kind of pop, fall off. But he holds on to it and then goes for like a low swing to try and like knock your legs out from under you with the spear. And it does not work. He like smacks the spear into your leg, but just like a tree trunk, it just kind of hits off you. It hurts a bit, it stings, but it's not really
Just
anything to
look
blink
at
at.
him and like exhale through my nose and just as the breath towards him.
It's your move.
Well, said I'm here. I'll just fucking go for taking the shield for real this time.
Oh, try again. Oh, you got him that time. So as you go for a bigger pull, putting more force into it, like he holds on, and then you just hear the like the bolts that are holding the leather straps into the shield just kind of each pop in turn as they all just rip off, and he's like still holding on to like the straps, and the shit just comes off his arm, and you, what are you doing with it? You know, chuck it or what are you doing
Can I
with the
chuck
shit?
it at him?
Yeah, why not? Just make just another normal strength to see if you hit him with
Wait,
it.
would that go against the rules?
Doesn't matter. Just do it anyway. It's for flavor. Oh, so you do hit him with it. So do a D4 damage. Oh,
Ah,
well, at least your strength is +3.
yeah.
But as you
Oh,
then
yeah.
like smash it over him, like hit it over him, it doesn't break the shield, but like you definitely get a good hit on him. And in retaliation to you stealing his shield, he whips back round with the spear, trying to slice it like across you, and you feel the very tip just kind of slice across the edge of your leather, but it wasn't close enough to
Ooh.
actually hurt you. It was, if you weren't wearing leather, that would have probably like sliced open your belly, but it like just skid across, dealing no damage.
Right, well then I shall and as the blade comes down slicing past me, and I sort of lean back and then I'll lean forward again and like is he wearing a helmet?
He is.
Yeah, I'll try to hit him in the side of the head with the axe then.
Oh, so
Ah,
as you go for the head,
axe.
yeah, he goes for like a duck and roll past you, coming up on your side, trying to like thrust the spear up towards you. He does not get a hit. You also manage to get out of there, like palming the spear away from you with one hand. It's back to you.
Uh, so is he on like a knee now?
Yeah, he's like down on a knee, like thrusting up towards you.
I'm gonna kick him in the chest to the ground.
Oh, strength.
Damn
You,
it.
you did win, though. You did win.
Yes.
I rolled a 4 plus 1. So, as like he's gone for the thrust and misses, you palm him out of the way and just kind of Sparta kick him back onto the ground. And he would now be prone. But
I told you you'd eat that dirt.
it's back to his turn, and like with the momentum of him getting like kicked onto his back, he kind of like keeps rolling, like rolls away from you a bit, back onto his feet, and then stays there. And you see him ready for as soon as you approach, he's gonna lunge at you. So he's holding his action, and his trigger is you getting in range, and he will attack.
Oh.
So now it's back to you.
Um, I will.
You can see there's kind of like a couple people, like you're drawing attention now. There's a few eyes that are watching the fight, and some people like stopped rushing around to watch.
Uh, I'm assuming all I could really do is either stand out of range of him or then push
As
into
soon
him,
as
and as soon as I come into range, then he uses his attack.
yeah, as soon as you get close enough for him to hit, he will then like make his attack at the same time you're doing whatever you're doing.
Okay, well I'm just gonna come in and try to uh hit him in the side then.
Go for it.
So boom. And I miss.
Oh, just barely missed. So as you come in swinging for him and he goes thrusting for you, the two of you kind of hesitate, not wanting to get hit by the other, and then just barely miss each other as you're now like back in this standoff. And then he takes his actual turn to. You see him kind of put the spear into like one hand rather than two, and he looks almost like he's charging for you, like going for a tackle, and then wraps, like kind of goes down real low, wraps the spear round the back of your legs, and then tries to pull it towards him. So he's kind
Okay, yeah, I
of
know
like kind of get at the
yeah,
back of your knees to pull you down. So this will be strength versus strength.
He really wants me on the ground.
Yes, because if he can get you grappled, like if you oh fuck's sake, 3 plus
Yeah.
1, god damn. So-
That's the second time that's happened.
So like if you grapple him and like get him in a grapple, like that's pretty much like you're just holding him and then you can just keep punching him, and it'll be easier for you to hit him than it'll be for him to hit back at you. Kind of like like MMA. the guy's like
Yeah.
got him locked in his legs, and you just punch him in the face, and he's trying to break
with the
free.
Yeah.
So if you grapple him, you would probably get like advantage on every attack, and he would have disadvantage
So-
every attack.
Do I need to grapple him? If I want to grapple him, do I then use?
It's a
another
strength against
roll?
strength, yeah.
Okay. We'll say he's that close. Is he then like below me?
Yeah, he's like kind of like skid in on his knees and trying to pull you, but he's like hit against your back, your legs, like, oh, fuck. This guy is like an iron tree. And you just didn't flinch.
Okay. Just gonna see if I can like grapple him and grab him by the shoulder.
Yes,
And then
go for it. Oh, you didn't this time. You actually rolled good this time. So as you try and grapple him, he knocks your grip out of the way. And then just goes for like a kind of like a rugby tackle into your stomach, trying to now pin you onto the ground.
So
As a
roll
counter.
again.
Yes. Ah, shit. I did not roll good.
Oh,
Okay.
come on! I could like it the last time.
So as he goes in for like the rugby tackle to try and push you, like you just kind of put a foot back and just don't even move as he's like pushing in, like his feet's kind of sliding in the muck as he's trying to push you down, but you're just standing there.
I'm gonna now use. I'm not gonna grapple him. Saying he's gonna like he's pushing away at me. I'm gonna just fucking drive a punch right down, like in his like lower back, and like just with the hopefully with the momentum he'll just fall to the ground.
Just a punch or like an axe blow?
Well, I suppose does an axe blow count if like because surely he's pretty close to me, so I'd just be using like the pommel of an axe.
Good enough. Axe blow. Oh, so as you go slamming into his back, you feel like his gear is covering his back has like caught the most of the impact and hasn't really like got through to him. And as this struggle goes on, you feel one of his like he kind of like wraps one of his legs behind yours and is trying to like push you over his leg to trip you up. Really wants you on the ground. Roll strength. Oh, fuck's sake. You didn't even really need to roll. Like, you literally couldn't lose unless you rolled a 1, because I got a 3. So, as he tries to, like pin your leg and push you over it, he just fails miserably.
Oh, why did I roll 2 strength rolls?
Probably lag.
Okay.
But it's back to you
Either
again.
one would have won.
Like, both of you have only
Yeah.
been, like, hit once, sort of barely took any damage, and, like, people are just kind of marveling at, like, this isn't, what the fuck is going on here at this point? It's like a brawl, but nobody's winning.
I'm just gonna hit him with my axe then again. If he's gonna keep being in that position, I'm just gonna keep hitting him with my axe.
Oh, that's definitely a hit. 5 damage. So you finally get a good blow onto his back, and it kind of knocks him down onto the ground. And then you see him, he's still like, has the spear, like the spear's on the ground. Well, like in his hand, like on the ground. He just rolls onto his back and thrusts like straight up towards you, trying to like get you from down low.
Assuming
Sen-
that's with disadvantage.
Yes, because he is prone.
Probably still hit me.
No, he got a 4. He would have hit you, but he got a 4 plus 3. So it looks like he's gonna hit, but then like he's like really close on the ground, and you just kind of push the spear out of the way. But it's
Yeah.
back to you.
Well, I'm just gonna basically gonna like as the spear comes up, I like sort of like sideways walk like off over the top of him, and then just like come in, and as I rotate round again towards him, I'm gonna just like hit him in the side with the axe.
Go for it.
Damn it!
As you come in for the
He's
swing,
rolled.
he rolls out of the way, back onto his feet, and brings the spear, like swinging it round over his head and trying to lunge it out at you as far as he can. And again, it just like slices across the front of your leather, leaving like a little line over it, but not enough to do anything. It's back to you.
Uh-huh.
This is a long battle of missing. Oh, you hit him! His thing's 14 now. Nice. So now that his shield's gone, like you go in for a swing, and you see him like raise his arm, like he's going for a block of the shield,
Muscle memory.
and then he gets that
He's
moment
like,
of
"Oh, I know
oh
what to
shit,
do."
and then tries to like just parry it with like the side of his arm, and it looks like it fucking hurt a lot. But with that, he staggers back a bit, taking the spear back in both hands, and he tries to get you across the like temple with the butt end of the spear. And come on, roll 20. Don't lag on me. Come on. Roll 20. Hello?
Oh dear.
Yes, it's just saying rolling dice, and it's not rolling the dice. Oh, there we go. Oh yeah, so he brings like the butt of the spear up and just like smacks you across the temple. And you take 5 points of damage. You feel like you've barely got the upper hand in this fight. Barely. So far. But it is back to you.
Yeah. What health am I on now?
21.
Okay. Right. Well, in anger, I just go straight back in again with a flurry of blows.
This
But
time
in
he
my anger, I have missed.
yes, and this time he does not make the mistake of raising his unshielded arm to block your blow. Catches it and parries it aside with the spear, thrusting back in again. This time, like bringing the butt of the spear up, like going for your chin, and this kind of gets you right on the edge of the chin, knocking your head like backwards a bit from the impact of your jaw like clattering together. He gets another 5 on damage.
What a bitch.
He's throwing a lot of 5s on damage. So you've got a feeling like as this fight's going back and forth, you're on even footing again.
I like go back, put my hand on my jaw, and sort of put it side to side, and then charge in again.
Oh!
Nice.
This is gonna hurt. This is gonna hurt a lot. Oh, shit. So,
Not even anymore.
so as you swing in with the axe, like as hard as you can, you slam it like straight into his chest, and his armor catches it, and you knock him back like a good like 5 or 6 feet from impact, and you can see him breathing heavy, like clutching his chest from the blow, like like really out of breath, like you knocked the wind straight out of him. And you can see like the
Your
look in his
turn,
eye of,
soldier. Yield.
you can see like the look in his eye of this is getting a bit too close, but he staggers in for like another ragged thrust, trying to get you back for the blow. He gets a hit, not a crit. There's an 18 plus 3. Not quite a critical hit. Oh, but he does 6 damage. That's his highest damage roll. 5 plus 1. Dropping you to 10. You can see him grin a bit as he's staggering, spear ready to try and intercept your next attack. Not giving up yet, but this fight's getting close.
Win again, and for some kind of getting frustrated now. I just kind of want this to be over, and I'm just like, oh, fuck it. stupid human won't even fucking yield, so just...
Oh
Oh,
no! You go in for the blow. You're like, okay, this is fucking it. I'm ending this guy. And you go in for the blow, and then you see his breathing kind of calm a bit, and he just brings up the spear and like whacks you across the wrist, knocking your axe out of your hand into the muck. As he takes a step to the side and brings his spear back around, like in a moment of calm, gets a hit, does 4 damage this time. As he like hits the axe out of your hand and then brings the spear back around and like whacks you across the back of the head as he steps off to the side, still in fighting range, but definitely putting this fight to be a lot closer than it was going to be. Oh, that hit! If you'd hit him, that would have ended the fight, like right there. But
I'm gonna
getting close.
I'm gonna walk straight up to him and just fucking dig him right in the face.
Oh, make the roll. Just a straight up strength roll. Oh, well, it's 1 plus 3, which is 4, and he has exactly 4 hit points. So he's like getting there. Like you go in, just like walk right up to him. He goes for a thrust. You just kind of grab the spear and push it to the side and just slog him right in like the nose guard of the helmet, and you can just feel it kind of smush into his nose. I knock him staggering back. He kind of keeps standing for a bit, taking a step back, another step back, and then just falls over onto the ground on his back. He has been defeated. And you can hear a couple like claps from a couple people that were watching. A couple other people just get back to their jobs. And since none of it was lethal damage, you see the guy like kind of dazed, but roll back over and then spit out
Well,
a tooth.
I'll go over and I'll help him up. You know, saying it was a very close fight. I will respect him as a warrior. I told you I would make you eat that dirt. And then I put out my hand.
I was invaded. I have no clue what you just said.
I basically go over them as a respect of a warrior. I basically go over and put out my hand and say, I told you I was going to make you eat that dirt.
He just like wipes some blood off, like off his lip where it's been like cut from the punch. As he reaches up with his bloodied hand and grabs ears and pulls himself up. Well, you know, dirt tastes good now and again. Spits out another bit of blood.
It was a good fight.
Gives you a nod. Better than these training dummies.
Yes. Good luck going out with them. I'd rather have them fighting stand over there on my flanks.
I could have smashed one over someone's head. Might distract an enemy. You can see him kind of like the 1,000 yards staring. He kind of looks out into the distance and then back at you. But I should probably get back to my duties. Clean up a bit. I don't want anyone getting any funny ideas. But it was a good fight. Good fight. And then, say, like, picking, like, his stuff back up, lifts his shield and is like, might need the smith to look at this one. And then jogs off towards the smithy, broken shield in pieces in his hand. But you did win the battle.
Alright, well, I suppose maybe I'll just I'll sit a bit, sit around for a bit. Maybe uh, if I use cure wounds, how long do I have to wait to get it again? Or I can use that one twice,
You
can't I?
can use that spell twice, and then you have to sleep to get it back.
Okay. I will use it once.
You can also use like your like resting dice to just heal yourself from sitting around and resting.
Oh, can I? How does that work?
Yes. Like just when you take a short rest, you can
Alright
use
then,
your.
yeah.
You've got
Yeah, I'll just.
3 of them since you're level 3, and they're d8s.
Alright, so I can just roll like, what's that, 2d8s?
Yeah, and see how much you get.
And then can I roll another one if I'm not happy?
Yep. You can roll as many as you want.
Sweet.
12,
12, that takes me back up to
18.
18. Then I'll roll another one. Takes me.
6, 24.
And then I will use Cure Wounds.
Yes, which is a d. Oh, you've got a roll thing for it, so you can just click on it. 8.
Full health.
Yes. Full health indeed. But
Business.
you're healed as you now sit and take a rest amongst the courtyard, watching people just go about doing their jobs, working around, and you do hear a bit of a ruckus coming from the rust yard side out the gate. Like something is happening on the other side of the bridge. Probably to do with that rabble of peasants that I now have had a column of soldiers march out through them into the district of the town, which probably isn't going too well.
Can I see from here?
You can like get a bit closer to the gate, and as you like get up to the gate and take a look out over the bridge, you can see like the column, like the Pineberg like battalion. You don't see it, but you see like the ragtag group of rusters of like they've got over the bridge, they've got partially down one of the streets, like straight down from the bridge, and there seems to be an angry mob of peasants. Some of them have like pitchforks and clubs and like throwing shit at them. They're kind of backing their way up towards the bridge as they're being pelted by rocks and fruit and all sorts of shit. Not exactly following orders, but they're being pelted.